Hi, my name is Madeline Schwartz, and welcome to my class. So this is a yoga flow class, sort of all levels. I will give some options for modifications. Feel free to take them anytime, or variations if you want to increase the intensity and work a more intermediate to advanced flow here. So let's get started. Finding a wide leg child's pose, coming onto your knees, open up the knees wide, start to bring the big toes towards each other. And then as you extend the arms forward, keep reaching until your forehead touches down to the mat here, drawing the hips back to the heels. And as you begin to settle into this child's pose, start to bring some attention to your breath here. Beginning by slowing it down. Just taking some big, deep, expansive, full body inhales through your nose. And then long, forceful exhales out your mouth. And repeating that a few more times. Breathe it all in and then exhale. Empty it out. Once more, inhale and exhale. And then maybe begin to come into that ujjayi breathing, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. And feeling that constriction of the back of the throat here. So this form of pranayama, breath that we practice here in our vinyasa practice and flow, helps to keep us here present in our bodies, on our mats. You know, it can get easy to be distracted, especially with your home practice. So hopefully you've found a quiet place there in your home. Maybe with the weather being nicer, you're able to go outside. Allowing minimal distractions too, but knowing that you can always come back to the breath should you feel the mind starting to go elsewhere. And then begin to make this pose a little more active, maybe lifting up the forearms, the elbows, tenting the fingers, starting to feel that lengthening and stretch through the side body. And pick up your torso, walk your hands over to the right, pressing through your left hand palm and pulling back through the left hip here. Feeling a stretch through the side body, opening up through the intercostals, the muscles between the ribs here. And then walking back through center and off your mat over to the left now, resting through the right hand palm and pulling back through the right hip. Same stretch, same feeling here. And taking it back through center here in child's pose. Allow a few moments here to set an intention, or maybe you have a mantra or affirmation or prayer. Something that inspires you, motivates you, that adds a little bit more purpose behind the practice, rather than just being about the asanas and the physicality. That emotional mental state. So what's going to keep you grounded or uplifted. And knowing that child's pose is always available should you need to come back to your breath or reset or come back to this moment. And coming up to tabletop on all fours, wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, tuck the toes and begin to move through your cat-cows. Inhale, dropping the belly, roll the shoulders back with the eye gaze. And then exhale, press down as you drop between the shoulder blades, pressing away, belly button to the spine. And again, inhale. Feel that expansion through the front body, and exhale, drawing in and up. Continue moving through your cat-cows. Find the rhythm that matches your breath here. Maybe closing your eyes and starting to take a head-to-toe body scan, just sort of noticing how you're feeling and what's going on. And then either stick with your cat-cows or allow them to transition into dancing lions. So it's just free organic movement, circling through the hips or coming forward or back or side to side. No right or wrong here, just kind of getting out all that stickiness or tension that you might be feeling in the body here. Just freely moving, come across any of that stickiness, pause there, come back to your breath, see if you can use your exhale to release some of that stickiness. And then take it back to tabletop, stretching out through the wrists, dial the fingers to face in towards you. Here, you can lean forward if it feels like a little too much, or lean back if you want a little more, maybe some cat-cows here. And then stretching through the wrist creases, countering that. Flip the tops of the hands onto the mat here and slowly begin to straighten the arms any amount here. Once you found that sweet spot, maybe wiggle the fingers, make fists open and close, or bend and extend the elbows here. And bring the hands forward, knees together to touch, tuck all 10 toes and sit back onto your heels for a toe stretch. Shake out the wrists here, interlace your fingers to the webbing, reach forward, take a big inhale here. As you exhale, round and curl, draw your belly button to the spine, press away. Really feel that stretch right between the shoulder blades. Then stack the spine all the way up, draw the shoulders down, take an inhale here. As you exhale, reach up and over to the right. You can stay with the fingers interlaced, or maybe bring your right fingers down to your mat, reaching through the left fingers and feeling that stretch to the left side body. Take it back up through center. Maybe re-interlace the fingers. If you opened up, take an inhale here, exhale. Up and over to the left, staying here, taking whatever variation you did on the other side. And come back through center here, bend the elbows, interlace the fingers again, bring the hands right at the nape of the neck, draw the elbows back, lift up through the chest here and allow the head to fall back into the hands here, taking an easy supported back bend. Keep that connection with the breath here, drawing the shoulder blades together, lifting up through the heart. And release, hands down, pat out the tops of the feet, maybe circle the ankles or wiggle the toes. Eye the needle flow, right arm extends forward, taking big circles back down, up and around right here. Inhale at the top, exhale at the bottom. And when you've had enough, reverse the direction. Warming up through the shoulder joint, getting that synovial fluid moving to lubricate through the joint. On the next go around, pause the top here, start to reach that right arm back, spinning open the right rib cage. And then extend your right bicep to your ear here. Reach your left leg back here. Find a balancing tabletop here. Take an inhale, reach, look past the fingers. Exhale, round and curl, knee to elbow, core cultivation. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, draw it in. Last one, inhale, reach. Exhale, hold it in. Take your hand, place it on the shin, draw the knee up to the chest, get a little smaller, tighter. And then reach and stretch back away. Take your right hand over to the right, and then your left foot all the way over to the left right here. Wrap everything in and up as if there was a lasso around your waist. Kindly ground that left foot down. It's gonna be slightly in front of the right knee. Reach the right arm up here, and then thread your needle here. Bringing the hip over the knee here, coming down to the back of the shoulder, the back of the skull here. So you can keep that left arm where it is. You can reach it up or maybe work towards a half bind. And maybe if you want to go for that double bind, the hand grabs hold on the outer edge of your left foot here. These are all just options. So stay or play. And if something doesn't work now, you can always go right back to where you were here. So a few more breaths here. Inhale, find a little bit more length. Exhale, deepening into that twist here. Notice if at any time the breath changes at all throughout the practice. So we tend to go into that fight or flight mode when we are faced in uncomfortable positions. But it's those uncomfortable positions that allow us to change and grow. Slowly start to unwind. Press your left hand to the mat, extend the right arm back up, reset here. Take the right hand down, bring that left knee back in. Same thing, other side, left arm forward, big circles back down, up and around here. Noticing any differences you might feel from this side to the other. And when you're ready, reverse the direction. Inhaling at the top, exhale at the bottom. On the next go around, start to reach up, start to spin open here, and then take your bicep to your ear. Right leg reaches back, find that balancing tabletop again. Inhale, reach, look past the fingers. Exhale, round and curl, knee to elbow. 2 more, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, draw it in. Last one, inhale, reach. Exhale, hug it in. Take the hand, place it on the shin, maybe get a little tighter, a little smaller here. And then reach and stretch back away. Take your left hand over to the left ear, flex through that right foot, and then bring it all the way around to the right side. Lift everything up, hold here, and then kindly step. That foot down, grounding the outer edge. Place the right hand on the mat, Reach the left arm up, open up, take an inhale here, exhale, and find that twist, threading the needle, bringing the left shoulder down. Right arm reaches up, or maybe going for that half bind, taking whatever variations you did on the first side, repeating on this side, even if one side feels like it might be a little more challenging. And again, if it doesn't work, just go right back to where you were here. You do want the hip over the knee here. So you might need to slide the head a little more forward. And once you've settled in, check back in with the breath here. See if you can come back to that mindful, that victorious Ujjayi breath you said at the beginning. As you start to unwind, press your right hand to the mat. Extend the left arm back up. Reset here. Take the hand down, bring the knee in, and maybe some cat-cows or dancing lions. Here to let go of anything that did or didn't happen. So taking extended puppy pose or maybe grasshopper. Grasshopper is that modified chaturanga. The hands come in a little bit closer. Shift forward, bend the elbows, hug the elbows into the ribs, come all the way down until the chin touches here. If you feel anything funky in your shoulder, that's a great variation. Extended puppy pose, arms reach out, keep sliding forward until your chin touches here. So in both variations, we're lifting up through the chin and pressing in rather than smushing the nose to open up through the throat here, feeling that deep contraction between the shoulder blades. You might need to keep sliding forward until your chin touches, and don't worry about the chest, it will eventually get there. Come all the way down onto your belly and find Sphinx pose right here. So bring the elbows right underneath the shoulders, maybe grabbing the elbows, hand palms forward, shoulders down and back, press into the tops of the feet, and like you're trying to drag your chest through the arms, lengthen up through the crown of the head, opening up through the chest, starting to draw those shoulders back, down, and around here. Stay here, or seal variation, hands spin out to the corners of the mat, start to lift the elbows, keep them bent, shoulders down here. And take it back to Sphinx pose. And then come all the way down, slide the hands down and bring the big toes together to touch. So the fingertips are now in line with the shoulders. The forearms are lifted, elbows hugging into the ribs here. Baby cobra. It's small, using all upper back. Exhale, let out all the air. As you inhale, find a little lift and extension. Draw the shoulders back and down, hug the elbows in. Press into the tops of the feet, maybe float the hand palms. Keep the back of the neck long so that we avoid kind of cranking the neck back. But these back bends extensions aren't about the cervical spine, they're about that upper thoracic. And release. Open up the feet hip width or wider. Walk the hands down to frame the ribs here. Lifted cobra, second set. Here, a little bit of arms, but keep the bend in the elbows. Exhale, let out all the air. As you inhale, press and lift up. Draw the shoulders down away from the ears. Keep lengthening up through the crown of the head here. If you notice those shoulders creeping up, soften the elbows, reset here. So training the back body to do the work. And release. Third set is a yogi's choice. You can take something that we already just did, one of the cobras. You can take a locust, a floor bow. Take my class before, you know, I always like that bound baby cobra, interlacing the hands behind or grab a towel or strap, press in the tops of the feet. Squeeze everything together, lift up the heart, the chest. This gives me a great shoulder stretch here. And try not to hold your breath as you're holding the poses. And release. Press back and find a child's pose here. Hips back to the heels. Knees can be closed for a release for the lower back if that feels okay. If it doesn't, take that open leg that you took in the beginning. And bring it back to tabletop right here. Wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, tuck the toes, spread the fingers, wrap those upper arm bones in. Press up away, draw your belly button to the spine. Press down so much that the knees start to lift an inch or two, hovering tabletop. Then lift the hips, press the sits bones back, draw your belly to your thighs, turbo facing dog. So you're shifting the weight back. Bring those ears right between the biceps, wrapping those upper arm bones in. Take an inhale, lengthen the legs. As you exhale, swivel your heels over to the right, maybe bending either or both knees for deeper variation here. Keep pressing through the left hand palm. Take an inhale, come back up through center, high on your tippy toes. Exhale, swivel the heels. Over to the left now, keep pressing through that right hand palm, and again, bending either or both knees. Come back up through center, take an inhale here. As you exhale, melt your heels down towards the mat, settling into your downward facing dog. Allow your first few breaths to kind of settle in. If you need to make any adjustments, Maybe shortening the stance, softening the knees, or any kind of movement here. That downward dog, foundation, active resting pose that we come back to a lot in this practice. So it's important to set up that foundation and alignment from the beginning, carry with us throughout as we begin to open up the bodies. Don't worry if the heels don't touch. They don't need to. As long as that intention is there with those inner thigh bones wrapping in and the outer heels reaching down. Bring the feet together to touch. Sweep your right leg up to the ceiling. Take a few breaths here to explore some movement. You can make circles, bend and extend, open and close. Lots of different joints there to kind of wake up. And then reach and extend the right leg all the way up. Lift the left heel so you're elevating the pose. Round and curl. Knee to nose, Nasasana. Press down, lift up, tiny little package. And then reach and stretch the right leg back. Option here to level off the hips, squaring off the hips here, drawing your left hip up and back here, right toes towards your mat. And round and curl again. Look between the hands. Kindly step or flick that right foot through. Blocks are a great option underneath the hands. And if you don't have blocks at home, you have any books or boxes or something just to kind of add a little bit of elevation. Let's take a lunge twist here. So left hand down, right arm reaches up here. Stay lifted out of the left side. So don't let the hips come with you. Keep pressing back through that left heel, engaging through the quad here. So blocks or whatever props you have, you can get creative at home, will just kind of help create that elevation so that you're lifting up through that underside body and not dumping down into the joints. Now counter the stretch without shifting anything in the lower half of the body. Just place your right hand where your left hand was and reach the left arm up. You're still high in the ball of that back foot here, pulling up through that right underside body. Now spin that back foot out 90, cartwheel the arms up. Warrior two here. So into your warrior two, check your feet. You want that front heel lined up with the arch of the back foot here. You're bending into the front knee, watching that the knee's not going past the ankle. Taking 3 pumping warriors. Inhale, straighten the front leg, reach the arms up, hug muscle to bone. And exhale, bend back, warrior two. 2 more like that. Inhale, reach, lengthen, round into the ball of that front foot. Exhale, down. Last one, inhale, reach. Exhale, take it back. Reaching and extending that right arm forward, flip the right hand palm, and then reverse your warrior. Left hand slides down the leg, keep bending into that front knee here. And take it back, warrior two. Cartwheel the hands down to frame the front foot here. And then kindly lower down your back knee. Sweep the arms up, so now you're in a knee down, crescent lunge right here. Right hand grabs a hold of the left wrist. Take an inhale here as you exhale. Take a side stretch up and over, then that contraction through the right side body here. Take it back center, bend the elbows, cactus the arms, open up the heart, the chest, and taking a back bend here of your choice. You can keep the arms cactus, you can bind the hands, you can take a quad stretch here. And then bringing the hands down here, tuck the back toes, lift up the back leg, step that back foot in a few inches here, maybe blocks underneath the hands to frame the foot here, and then slowly start to straighten that front leg any amount. Parsvottanasana, intense forward fold. So the goal here isn't how straight can you get the legs, but about squaring off through the hips. So watch that the feet aren't on that same imaginary line here. You want to think railroad tracks, not a balance beam. Inhale, lengthen up halfway. Exhale, fold here. Feel that isometric pull from that right heel all the way up to the right glute here. Trying to find length through the spine. And what you do with that back heel is up to you, whether you keep it up, turn it out, parallel. Now step that foot up halfway and now cross it behind the front foot. So now they're on the same line here. Start to walk your hands or blocks over to the right here, standing steer. So you might just kind of tiptoe the fingers a few inches and that's fine. You're pulling up through that right glute, getting into the IT band and psoas here. If accessible, you can start to spin out to the outer blades of both feet, dialing the toes over to the right here. So how do you know where to go? Well, you can keep the legs straight, the knees straight. So if they start to bend, that's that indication you might have gone a little bit too far. Those inner thighs are squeezing together, similar to eagle. and start to unwind it back over to the left here to find your wide leg fold. Toes dialed in, heels out, soften the knees here so that you can lengthen the spine, eliminating the roundness through the upper part of the back. Extend the arms forward, shift the hips back, and take a wide leg downward dog here. Hammock's a great option. The hands are gonna open up in hammock, wider than your shoulders, and you're gonna let your chest, your ribs just open and up. Shoulders are gonna kind of rotate out here, so you're releasing that containment that you put in, or that we started in the beginning of our practice, that wrapping in or that imaginary yogi corset, if you've ever heard that before too. So in this position here, we can safely release that containment. So feel free to explore, just watching that you're not starting to exploit. Walk the hands back underneath the shoulders, dial the fingers around and begin to walk through your legs, reversing your wide leg dog. Now the weight shifts to the balls of the feet here. Again, softening the knees, lifting the sits bones. You can bend the elbows a little bit or keep them straight, lengthening the crown of the head towards your mat here. Again, trying to eliminate the roundness through the upper part of the back. That's where the softening of the legs. So anytime in forward folds, I don't know where it kind of came up where we thought we have to have the legs straight or jam the knees back, but it's more about the spine here. And then bring the hands back underneath the shoulders, take an inhale, lengthen up here halfway, exhale, fold. Walk it around to the front, find your right side lunge, hands frame the foot, step your right foot back to meet your left here, high plank. Pause here, you can always drop the knees down. Moving through our first vinyasa together, take your time, work any variations or modifications your body needs. So I'm gonna drop my knees down for this first one. Shift my shoulders in front of my wrists, take an inhale as I exhale, bending the elbows just halfway, keeping the elbows right over the wrists. Then inhale, press up and through to lifted cobra or upward facing dog, keeping those shoulders down. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog here. Connect back in with the breath. Notice any differences this downward dog might feel than the first one as the body begins to open up, creating a little more space and expansion. Bring the feet together to touch. Sweep the left leg up. And take a few breaths here to explore some movement in the left leg. Bend and extend the knee, open and close the hip here. Doesn't have to be the same as the first side. This might need something different. And then reach the leg all the way up, lift the right heel, elevating the pose, round and curl. Knee to nose, Nasasana. Draw the heel into the seat so it's not floating in space. Sweep that left leg back. This time level off through the hips if you took that variation on the other side, allowing that right hip to draw up and back here. Round and curl again. The higher the hips are, a little more accessible this transition is, but it's all about those pelvic floor muscles. Look between the hands, flick the left foot through here, bending into that left knee, finding your left side lunge. Lunge twist. Right hand down, left arm sweeps up here. So again, I'm using the block because there's a good chance if you use it on one side, you're probably gonna want it on the other. Let the weight be equally shared between your right hand and the left foot. Grounding into all four corners of that left foot, allowing the twist to come from the spine and opening up through the middle and upper part of the back. Keep scissor hugging through the inner thighs and lifting up. Don't let the hips drop lower than the knee here. Counter the twist here. So left hand replaces the right arm. Right arm reaches up, still high in the ball of that back foot, lifting up through that underside body here. Spin that back foot out 90. Cartwheel the arms up. Warrior two here. So connect back in with the breath. Check the feet. Heel to arch. This is so important in the setup for this pose and this position because if the feet are off, it's going to throw everything else off. 3 pumping warriors. Inhale, straighten the front leg, reach the arms up, hug muscle to bone. Exhale, bend back, warrior two. 2 more, inhale. Slowing it down, connecting back, breath with movement. Exhale, shoulders stay right over the hips. Last one. And take it down here. Pause here. Flip that front hand palm, reach forward, and then reverse the warrior. Keep bending into the front knees. You reach that top arm back. See if you can press that back leg into the hands so you're staying lifted through the arch and inner thigh. And then take it back up to warrior two here. Cartwheel the hands down to frame that front foot. Spin up on the ball of that back foot and softly lower down the back knee. Sweep the arms up here, knee down, crescent lunge here. Like you're trying to drag that front heel towards that back knee to square off through the hips. Left hand grabs a hold of the right wrist. Take an inhale here. Exhale, side stretch. And come back, center, bend the elbows, cactus the arms, and take whatever back bend variation you did on the first side. Round the elbows back, opening up through the heart, the chest here. And hands come down to frame the foot. Tuck the back toes, lift up the back leg. Slowly begin to straighten the front leg any amount. You might need to step that back foot in a few inches here. Again, blocks underneath the hands are a great option. Parsvottanasana, intense forward fold. Inhale, lengthen up halfway. Exhale, fold, drawing your left hip up and back here. So watching the feet, there's space between them so that your hip open distance here. Feeling that isometric pull from that front heel all the way up to the glute here. Step that back foot in halfway and cross it in front of the front foot here. So now they're on the same alignment. Standing steer, start to walk the hands over to the left here. So again, a few kind of little tiptoe inches might be enough to feel that stretch and pull through that left outer leg here. But if you want to go a little deeper and you did the variation on your side, start to spin to the outer blades of both feet, maybe walking the hands towards the center, spinning over to the left here. And again, watching, knowing that that indication of where to go is where you can keep the legs straight. Once they start to bend, it's kind of gone a little too far. Unwind it, walk it all the way around to the right. Second set, wide leg fold here. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders, take an inhale, lengthen up halfway. Hands on the hips, exhale, come all the way up to stand here. Now, if you have a towel or strap handy, even just a little hand towel for the shoulder stretch, this is a great option. Here to open up through the shoulders here, creating more space and expansion. So roll the shoulders up and back, reach the hands down towards the back heels, open up through the chest, the heart. You can inhale here, exhale, fold forward, wide leg fold with shoulders stretch here. Again, softening the knees and shifting the weight to the balls of the feet. Crown of the head reaches towards the mat here. Check back in with the breath here. Forward folds can be a little confrontational and change the body or kind of send those little neuroreceptors, brain saying, wait, stop, or pull back, or push harder too, and that can tense up the body and then change the breath. So always know that that breath is a great indicator of what else is going on with the body, with the mind here. But that connection to that mindful breathing can help to stabilize everything, to keep you calm, relaxed, and present. And release the strap or towel here. Center your right hand and place your left hand on your hip here for a wide leg twist. So you want to walk the hand out so you have a flat back with those sits bones right over the heels here. Again, you can use a block underneath the hand. Roll that left shoulder up and back. Watch the hips, don't take them with you. Opening up here. This is a nice place to stay right here. You want to take a little deeper, the arm can extend up. Then you can move into a half bind, grabbing a hold of something on the right side. Again, watching the hips, or maybe a double bind. Right hand grabs a hold of the outside of that left leg. Bending the elbow, lengthen, so try not to round the upper back here. And release. Hands underneath the shoulders, maybe wiggle it out before moving to the other side. Center the left hand, right hand on the hip here. Draw that right shoulder up and back. Keep lifting up through the left hip, so don't take the hips with you. The twists come from the spine. And then finding whatever variation, either staying or whatever you did on the up first side here. Grabbing hold of something if you're going for that bind. Rolling that right shoulder back. Maybe going for that double bind here, bending the elbows, lengthening up through the crown of the head, so trying to create more space between each vertebra here. And release, bring the hands back underneath the shoulders, take an inhale. Lengthen up halfway, maybe a vocal exhale. As you fold, walk it around to the front. Find your left side lunge here, step the left foot back to meet the right, and moving through your vinyasa, make it mindful. Maybe just holding a knees down, chaturanga. And a back and a downward facing dog here. Bring the feet together, lift up high in the heels, and start to baby step to the front of your mat here, connecting with those pelvic floor muscles. Once you get to the front of the mat, you'll toe the feet out 2 fist width distance, soften the knees here, maybe grab opposite elbows and find that ragdoll heavy position here, grounding into all 4 corners of both feet. Maybe a deeper variation. The hands come behind the legs here, bringing the belly to your thighs, reaching the crown of the head towards your mat. And release the arms and slowly start to round up. One vertebra at a time here. Let your head be the very last thing to come up, and once it's stacked, take a little shoulder, roll up and back. Finding mountain pose, hand palms forward. The finding mountain pose, arms at side, shoulders pulling back and down. Take an inhale, reach the arms up over the head, bring the hands together, bend the elbows, and then bring the hands down to heart center. Close your eyes for a moment. Just take a second here to thank yourself, to remind yourself that you are doing a good job. If you're here at home doing this practice with me right now, that is great. So give yourself that credit too, because I know it's not always easy, especially with all the distractions and things we have going on right now. So allow this time to be for yourself too, so that you can charge your battery as well. Open up the eyes, reach the arms up overhead. Take a big inhale here. Exhale. Swan dive. Forward fold here. Heel toe the feet back together to touch. Place your hands on your shins. Take an inhale. Lengthen up halfway. Vocal exhale. Fold. 2 more like that. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Step back. Walk. If you're jumping or floating, you're taking it right back to your chaturanga, and then move through your vinyasa. Take it back, downward dog. Here, spin your left foot out, 45, and then reach the right leg back, keeping the hips level and square. Maybe walk the hands in a little bit so that left heel is grounded. Reach the left arm forward here. Find this balancing kind of dog here. You can stay where you are or take a twisted bow, reaching the arm back, grabbing hold of the foot here, opening up through the front body. Balance is tricky, just stay right where you are. Then step that right foot forward, warrior one, root down, rise up here, grounding through the outer edge of that back foot here. Bending into the front knee, smooth out any rough edges of the breath here. Bend the elbows, cactus the arms, open up through the chest, the heart here. Squeeze those elbows back and then reach back and take a bind. Knuckles back towards that back heel, open up through the chest, the heart here. And fold forward, humble warrior. You might need to heel toe out that right foot once or twice to create the space to bring the shoulder on the inside of the leg here. That left hip can come back. Kind of wiggling the shoulder there rather than trying to force it. So create that space, that room. Reaching the crown of the head to your mat with that intention of it one day touching. And come up halfway. Open up the arms like airplane wings here. Take your left hand down on the inside. Reach the right arm up. Awkward or warrior one. Twist here. Spinning to the outer blades of both feet. Taking side plank, Visvamistrasana. So you can stay in this sort of IT band stretch right here. You can scissor the feet, or you can stack the feet, or lower down your left knee here. Press that top hip up. Square off through the shoulders and the hips. If you have any other variations here, feel free to take them. Lift that top leg, right leg up, bend the knee, step it behind you, and maybe take your wild thing or dancer's bridge, pressing the hips up. You can also do this with the knee down as well. Rewind back, find your plank here, moving through your vinyasa. And take it back, downward dog here. Sweep the right leg back up, so we're still on that right leg. Round and curl, knee to nose. Take the knee over to the left here, kick it out, and reverse your dancer's bridge here. Or taking fallen triangle with both legs straight, hips pressing up, streamlining bicep to ear here. And then bring your left hand down, spin back up to the ball of that back foot, so you're in a scissor plank. Feel free to take a scissor chaturanga, a scissor up dog, the arm balances, or a scissor downward dog. Take that front foot, cross it in front of that back foot here. So you're sort of making a diamond between the legs. And then look forward. Take your right knee behind the right wrist and find your one leg pigeon here. So drawing that hip back, flex through the front foot. Be sure that the hip's not kind of sitting right onto that heel. It can be right in front, but not on it here. And then maybe lowering down onto the forearms, elbows. You can use pillow blocks or whatever you have to prop up to bring the ground a little higher here. And if this variation for one leg pigeon doesn't feel right, always know that you can lay on your back and take your reclining pigeon or that figure 4 stretch. It's the same benefits too. So as you close your eyes and settle into this pose here, neck back with the breath, kind of notice where you might be carrying or holding on any tension. See if you can take your breath to the hips here with every exhale. Finding some release or seeing what you can let go of, be that physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, whatever it is. And if you'd like to take mermaid or king or royal pigeon here in this option, know that that is always available, or even just the quad stretch. And then come back up onto your hands here, tuck the back toes, lift up the back leg, sweep your right leg all the way up and back, and move through your vinyasa. You can always take a one-leg vinyasa here. Neck breath, asana. Take your time, always make it mindful here. And then walk, jump, or float back to the top of your mat. Here. Bring the feet together to touch. And reverse swan dive, or roll up one vertebra at a time here. Reach the arms out to the side. Eagle wrap, right arm crosses underneath the left right here. Bend the knees. Take all that weight into your left foot. Take an eagle. Right leg reaches up and crosses all the way over. So balance is tricky. Bring the toes down, shoulders back over the hips, like you're right up against a wall. You're at home, you could probably even do this up against a wall to see as well. If you're going for that double bind, you have to bend into that standing leg here to get it. Find your drisky. I know it's hard with the arms right in front of the face here, but your focal or focus point, stay connected with the breath. And release, shake it out here. Other side, reach the arms up overhead. Eagle wrap, left arm underneath the right. Bend in the knees, deep bend in that right knee. Lift the left knee up, crossing over. Again, if balance feels tricky, one side kind of always feels a little off, and that's okay, that's totally normal. Ooh, like this side right here. Bend in the knees, shoulders back, lift the elbows, hands away from the face here. Again, if you're going for that double bind, you have to bend into that standing leg. Don't feel discouraged if it's just not happening today. We have good days, we have not so good days. And release, doesn't change anything about who we are. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold here. Plant the hands, walk and jump, or float it back through your vinyasa. Home stretch flow right here. And back, downward facing dog. Take your right foot, you might need to walk in a little bit, spin it out 45, and reach the left leg back, leveling off through the hips. So maybe coming up to the fingertips or tiptoeing the fingers back so you can ground through the right heel. Right arm reaches forward. Stay here, holding this for a few breaths here, or maybe finding that twisted bow variation, opening up through the chest, shift the weight back. You don't know until you try, and you can't till you can. So don't feel like anything is impossible, but if you can safely try something, go for it. Round and curl, left knee to nose, step it through, root down, rise up. Warrior one here. Again, just allow that moment, smooth out any rough edges of the breath. That little movements for this hold here can kind of change the heart rate, the breath. You can bring it back down and find that mindful breath back into that present moment, being in your bodies. Bend the elbows, cactus the arms. Open up the chest, the heart, reach back, interlace the fingers, placing your funky thumb on top, opening up through the chest, the heart, reaching your knuckles towards the back heel, and then fold forward, humble warrior. So rather than trying to just jam it in, heel toe that front foot out a little bit, and then draw that back hip back. Create the space to bring the shoulder on the inside of the knee, and then you can start to work the hips to square off, but that's not as important. So this is how we adjust the yoga to fit our bodies rather than trying to change the yoga or force it. But our approach, how we're getting there, what we're doing. So being less focused on how we look or how we think we're supposed to look and more about how we feel and how we want to feel here. Come up halfway, open up the arms like airplane wings. Take your right hand down on the very inside of the left foot and then reach your left arm up here. Warrior one or awkward twist. Spin out to the outer blades of both feet here. Again, staying here, maybe streamlining bicep to ear, or finding your variation of side plank, the Svanimistrasana you took on the other side here. Scissoring, stacking, or lowering your right knee down. Wherever you're at, lift that top foot up, bend the knee, step it behind you, press the hips up, and take your wild finger dancer's bridge here. Rewind it around, find your plank here, move through your vinyasa. Almost done, so you're doing great. Feel free to take any modifications here and take it back, downward dog. Left leg sweeps back up, round and curl knee to nose. Take the knee over to the right, kick it out, reverse your dancer's bridge or find your fallen triangle. Press the hips up, streamline bicep by ear, and then bring your right hand down. Spin up to the ball of that back foot. So now you're in a scissor plank. You can hold here, or again, take that scissor chaturanga, scissor up dog, or bring the foot back to cross in front of that back foot, finding that scissor downward dog. Look forward, take your left knee behind the left wrist here, finding your left side one leg pigeon here. So a towel or a blanket might need to be underneath that hip, your left hip, to lift up. Flex through the front foot. That front leg does not have to be parallel here. It can be closed in. As you begin to open up, you might notice it comes a little more forward. And then maybe coming down the forearms, the elbows, or using a pillow or blocks to prop yourself up. Grind those shoulders down and finding that release into this hip opening pose here. You might notice that one side, again, feels totally different from the other, and that is normal. It's important to be aware and kind of notice what's going on so that you don't overcompensate on one side if you are recovering from an injury or you have something going on one side of the body. We are ultimately trying to create that balance. It's not always going to happen as easily as we'd like to. The more that we pay attention and listen to what our body's telling us, we can build up that body awareness, which is going to help us. Every time we step on our mats and come to our practice, it's going to be a different, completely different practice than the last time. Even if we're doing the same poses for the same breaths, in the same place, it's going to be different. Our body's constantly growing, changing, evolving. So know that every time you step on the mat. Some days you might need to pull back a little bit. Some days you might want to push a little harder. So it's that intelligent edge or that intuition rather than the instinct. Come up onto the hands right here. Tuck the back toes, sweep left leg all the way up and back here. Final vinyasa. Make it the most mindful. Doesn't have to be the most challenging or the best. And take it back downward, facing dog. Just pause here for a few breaths. Notice any differences this downward dog might feel than the first one. Notice that alignment. Be sure you're lifting out of the wrists, the elbows. Let the hips do the work and shift the weight back. Bring the feet together to touch here. Look out past your mat. You're going to jump the legs all the way through to a seated staff pose and extend the legs forward. Hopefully yours was a little more graceful than mine here. Extending the legs forward, move the fleshy part away from the hips here so you're on the sits bones. Open up through the chest, the heart. Take an inhale here, exhale. Forward fold here, Paschimottanasana. So I really recommend a towel or strap here. You can bend the knees. They don't have to be together, but you want to open up. We want to avoid this. We want to stay lifted, open up through the heart, the chest, draw the shoulders back here, lengthen up through the spine, engage the quads, even if the legs aren't straight here. That's what's going to open up the back of the legs here. And then maybe release, press into the tops of the feet, stretching through the arches. Extend the arms forward, take an inhale here. As you exhale, slowly lower all the way down onto your backs. One vertebra at a time, head comes down last. So as you settle into your backs, your Shavasana, not quite the final one yet here. Bend your knees, place your feet flat, and then open up the knees here, Supta Baddha Konasana. Taking your right hand on your heart center and your left hand on your belly here. You stay here if you want any core work here. Interlace your hands behind the head. You can take 20 crunches here. It's honor system. No one's there to check or count for you, so it's your own accountability here, or maybe some bicycles as well, getting into the obliques, up and over, wide elbows. Always that kind of end with a little bit of core here, up and over. So kind of listen to your body. If that's feeling good, feel free to take it, or you can just stay here in that Supta Baddha Konasana. Close your eyes. Right hand on the heart, left hand on the belly here. And then when you are ready, Draw the knees back in, hug the knees into the chest. Keep your right knee hugging in, extend the left leg long on your mat, interlace the fingers to the webbing flow of the knee. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, find that gentle belly twist. Bring the knee over to the left, extending your right arm long. You can eagle wrap the legs here for an outer hip stretch, or take a reclining dancing Shiva. We did not do that standing, extending the leg forward, drawing that top hip away. And come back to center, right leg extends long, left knee hugs into the chest. Interlace the fingers to the webbing here, take an big inhale here, hold here. And then exhale, finding that belly twist, drawing the knee over, extending the arm, and taking whichever leg or arm variation you did on the first side here. And taking it back to center here. Hug both knees into the chest here. Taking a happy baby, grabbing the outer edges of the feet, feet flexed here, hips down. Reclining straddle with a peace finger bind, or maybe one leg at a time is a great option here too as well. And then releasing the legs, bring them together, keep the sits bones down and grounded, heels right over those sits bones, hand palms down, staying here, legs up the wall, or in these final few moments of class before Shavasana, taking whatever you need. If you want a little more heart opening back bends, taking bridge, wheel, fish pose. If plow is in your practice, going for that before shoulder stand. So don't just be in the rush to lift the hips right up. You gotta work that plow first to get those hips over the shoulders, and then finding the shoulder stand. And just staying here, this legs up the wall. You can take a block or pillow underneath your seat here for a more supported, restorative variation. Slowly start to bend the knees, placing the feet flat here, allowing a moment to kind of get that circulation back through them, and then extending the legs long. Finding your way to your final Shavasana. Arms come down by the side. Hand palms can be down if you feel like you need more of that grounding, support, stability, or maybe hand palms open. Opening up through the chest, the heart here. Finding that release of anything that's no longer serving you. Creating that space to bring in more of what you need. And as you close your eyes, softening your eyelids, coming back to your natural breath here, maybe back to that intention you set, or that mantra, prayer, or affirmation in the beginning of the practice. Just allowing yourself to be here. Finding that stillness and finding that surrender in your Shavasana. And that release. And if it resonates with you, placing your right hand on your heart center and your left hand on your belly here, and just taking a moment to feel the rise and fall of the belly with every inhale and exhale, reminding yourself of the power of your breath here to help keep you present, to help keep you mindful, help keep you from going into that fight or flight mode or freeze mode. Allowing you to be the observer of your thoughts rather than the reactor. Feeling the heartbeat underneath the top hand, and reminding yourself of the love, life that fills you up, and maybe sending it out there to somebody who could not be here with you right now. Maybe that person is yourself. And then slowly starting to bring both knees into your chest, gently rocking side to side and making your way over to your favorite side, doesn't matter which one, into a fetal position right here. And just kind of checking back in with yourself, noticing how you are feeling right now. If it's something good, knowing that you can come back to this at any time you need to. If it's something not so great, that's okay too. Just kind of noticing where those feelings are going, and if this is something that you need to find some release or leave here so that as you go about the day that you have been able to kind of cut that I say, those things that are no longer serving our greater good. I know it's always easier said than done. And keeping your eyes closed, press yourself up to a comfortable cross-legged seated position here. Bringing your hands to your heart center here. And taking the hands back up to your third eye in that prayer position. May your thoughts be clear, steady, and present. Hands to your lips. May your words always be kind and compassionate. Hands to your heart center. May your heart remain open and honest and know that the answer always lies within you. Be the change you wish to see. The light within me honors and salutes that same beautiful bright light in all of you. Hope everybody is staying healthy, well, and practicing yoga. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.